Hello and welcome to the Right Click Save podcast. We are your hosts, as always, Calcio and Jimmy T. We're joined in the studio today by Ameer Hussain, the founder and CEO of one of the most prominent high investor wealth groups in the NFT space, Dark Echelon.
I'm excited to have Ameer on again. He was one of our first guests on the podcast and actually the first guest in the current format. And he gets to be the first guest as me, as my new NFT, finally, a Loser Club Reborn.
It's good to see you, Jimmy, back in your natural state as a big loser. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Right Click Save podcast. We're nearing on 10k subs. We would love to hit that by the end of this episode. Without further ado, let's jump in and chat to Ameer, all things Dark Echelon. It's pretty exciting to have you back on, Ameer. I think you were actually our first guest in this format way back in, I want to say November. Since then, you've gone, I think it's like 275,000 Twitter followers. Dark Echelon is undoubtedly a massive success. How have you been, though? Good?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I've been amazing. Hopefully you guys have been well. I've just been really focusing on certain aspects that maybe, you wouldn't really hear from the usual guy, to basically propel my own brands and my companies and all that. Just trying to make sure that we can establish ourselves and like put some deep roots in the space so we can stay here for a long time. And yeah, we're just trying to focus on that more than anything currently, and that's my main focus. I still have not stopped ever since we did that last podcast. I don't even know when it was, like maybe 8 months ago. Yeah. I've continued to work about 18 hours a day. I have not stopped. I've not taken one day off. I still have really shitty sleep. Me and my team, I've added on so many different team members. Like, we've expanded crazy since you guys last spoke to me, and I've seen you guys have also grown too. So congrats on that, guys. It's been a wild journey.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And congrats to you. We've definitely been tracking your progress. And yeah, you were the first on our current format for the podcast, and it's in the garage on this set. And in terms of just as a perspective, I think when you were on the last podcast, Dark Echelon floor price was at 0.15.
If that's the case, that's crazy, man. What the hell?
You were, and now you're at 4 ETH. So I mean, that's got to be a good signal for anyone who wants to, get their project going. Come on the Right Click Save podcast.
Exactly. I don't think you can take credit for it.
Nah, that is exactly how it happens.
I think one of the biggest things for me really about it was that you were super confident, as you have to be in your own product, but you were super confident when we were sat there back then, and it was shitloads of alpha groups were everywhere. I don't think Dark Echelon is an alpha group anymore, but back in the day, that was kind of how we chatted about it. They were everywhere because the market was popping. What do you think you actually did, though, to make it work? What do you think you specifically have done differently to anyone else to make sure that we can sit here 8-9 months later, 4 ETH floor price, 1,500 ETH in volume, really good hold account, and everything is still working well?
Yeah, man. We actually did have strategy there. I do have quite a bit to talk about there. But before I get into that, it's pretty crazy too, because when we last spoke, whatever the floor price, all that, ETH was at a different price, right? So yeah. When we ran up all the way to the peak bowl and all that, our floor price for Dark Echelon was actually almost at 20,000 USD. It was pretty crazy, and that's just for the gold token. We had the Genesis token. I don't even kid you. I think the floor price was like at $80,000 USD.
Wow,
it was crazy. So obviously things have cooled down a bit since, because the market's cooled down. But yeah, we've implemented quite a bit of strategy, man. So about 2 or 3 months in to the Dark Echelon, collective, whatever you want to call it. We identified that we were going to be moving in a similar trend to a lot of projects that we're going to start releasing. And I knew that there was going to be a big trend of groups, exclusive groups. It was a very easy way for other people to make money, right? Just a very quick and easy way without having to worry about launching this huge project and all that. I already knew a lot of people were going to start dropping their own groups, right? Because it was a very easy trend to make a quick couple $100,000.
Yeah.
Obviously, hopefully you're reputable enough to withhold it and, make it last a long time. But I knew it was not going to be, a very possible thing. Just way too much supply. So what we came to realize is that we have to start going with the brand first approach. We have to start going with a collective slash brand approach first. We have to identify what we're good at and stick to it, right? So what we started doing actually is moving away from the alpha group centralized branding, right? I guess you could say when we launched, we were trying to brand as that because that was like the brand new thing. No one was doing it, right? So when we did that, it was great, cool success. It wasn't anything crazy. But then when we started branding as like, I guess you could say a collective or like an actual brand that's actually trying to expand and partner with other bigger companies in the Web2 world or, even in the electronics and tech world, that's when we started growing a lot more. Obviously, you could say that we grew bigger, more people knew about us. So in return, we had more demand, right? I did a really good job marketing since, I guess you could say that's one of my skills. I did pretty well on that, making sure that everyone knows what Dark Echelon is. And now when I go around everywhere, at least a good handful of people from any niche of the NFT space will know what Dark Echelon is. So I think I did pretty well there. But in terms of that, we stopped moving away from Alpha Group by actually taking away all alpha advertising. So we took away alpha chat. We also took away alpha calls. We also took away, I guess you could say, the brand centralized thing of promoting, oh, we made profits on this and that. So we started moving away from all that. And what we started doing is just promoting brand collaborations. We started promoting, we have a long-term partnership here. Oh, we have this partnership for free for all of our holders. So we also started moving in the direction too, where we started to realize that a lot of the value-based products in the space that were being offered to other groups or that were being offered to collectives and all that, you got this discount code or whatever you want to call it. We started to realize that we will never bring anything to Dark Echelon if it's a discount code. The only thing that we will bring to Dark Echelon is if it's for free for all of our holders. So in terms of value-based products, that's what we started bringing for all of our holders. So we actually got Flava Tools, we got Cyberbox, Just Cube, Supernode. I think we got like Zentask, a couple of, I don't even know, man. There's a lot of different things, but we got all these different cool tools and softwares for free for all of our holders. And that's what started adding more value to our product, because you're buying into a product, you take away everything from it. Now it's this value token that has free access to all this stuff. On top of that, you have a bunch of free other things. You get crazy whitelist opportunities, and now you're in this really cool network, right? So when you take a brand first approach, you also start attracting a certain type of people, right? So the whole point of doing a brand first approach and trying to present ourselves as like a luxury collective that is very high end, right? It started attracting a certain audience, and then that's when we started getting Bored Ape holders, we started getting Doodle holders, we started getting Moonbird holders, Proof Collective holders. That's when we started attracting that, and that's when I started seeing some progress. So obviously in the bull market, we hit that very high floor. I think it was like 6.6 ETH, and we stood there for like maybe a week or so, and then market started cooling off a bit, and then we started to stabilize around like that 5.5 range, and then from there we started to go back to like that 4ish range. That's all cool, but now we've, I guess you could say, established a very solid branding, right? And now from here, we have a different approach now that we're starting to take. I guess you could say like in our phase 3 of how we're going to move the brand forward. I can go into that a little bit later because it's going to probably take a while to talk about that. But yeah, we're just trying to keep, like, I guess you could say, constantly adapt, right? Not trying to find ourselves comfortable in anywhere, right? I told you guys I work a lot, so my team does the same thing. On top of that too, team expansion, making sure that we can delegate tasks to people who are actually good at them and they can just focus on that one task all day instead of one guy focusing on 50 different tasks, right? I used to do a lot of things myself. I started hiring more employees, more and more, 10, 20, 30, 40. It gets bigger and bigger, right? So yeah, man, we're just building out this really cool ecosystem. Now we have OP Network, now we have Dark Labs. We can maybe get into that later, but yeah, it's just been a wild ride.
I think that one of the things that stands out as well is I listened to a podcast with Nick Jones, who's the founder of Soho House in the UK, which is essentially a massive membership club. And it is essentially based on giving, I guess, the rich an opportunity to, as you said, socialize, collaborate. And it was one of the original groups really in the UK that it's done exactly what you were aiming to do, which is take it away from it being all about money making on the surface, take it away from it being alpha, and actually start cultivating a culture where people wanted to be there because it was something which you just did if your friends were there, but more importantly, you meet the right people through it. I wonder as well, though, when you look back at how you've journeyed over the last, perhaps, let's say 2 or 3 months and done really well and been resilient throughout the what I guess we call it a bear market, I wonder if there's anything that you'd give as advice to someone who is looking with genuine intention, not just a cash grab or a rugger, but if you were talking to someone who really wanted to turn around and had something to offer but was unsure as to how to push it out there as a product, what would be your biggest advice to surviving successfully through a bear market?
Yeah, I think you have to be friends with the right people. That's one of the best things, right? So if you really want to develop a really cool product, if you really put it in front of the right people's faces, they're going to help you some way, somehow, whether you have to pay them or whether you have to partner with them, whatever it is, right? You have to put your product in front of the right people. And on top of that, you have to have the right product, right? If, you can market it all you want, but at this point, everyone's already came up with their own idea for this new genius idea, this new product. It's fucking everywhere, man. So you need a really good product and it needs to be put in front of the right people. If those people like it, they'll also put it in front of the right people, and it's a domino effect. But yeah, it's a pretty wild game here now, and things are getting a lot more tough. And it's just the best will survive. I've been saying that for a while. It's a survival of the fittest here in this space, and a lot of people think that we're like working hard, we're working super hard, our team is really skilled. But that does not matter. It does not matter how skilled you are. It does not matter how hard you are working. It is the survival of the fittest, and that's what people don't understand. They say, "Oh yeah, our founder works super hard," or "Oh, we have the hardest working team in the best community." It does not matter, right? The best of the best only survive, and that's just how the real world works. Nothing is fair. People still do not understand that in this space. I see it every single day. People shilling me, "Oh, our founder works so hard. You should buy our project. Please join our community." People don't understand. It's just you build that attachment to certain communities once you realize that or you build that certain attachment to communities once you really invest time in there. So I think that people got to start realizing, and I can break down some points about that later also. But yeah, you need to know the right people. You need to be in front of the right faces. You also need to have the right product.
What's the best way of going about that? From your opinion, how have you gone about that in terms of isolating who are the people that you want to network with in the space and keep as a connection? Because I'm sure that you probably get hundreds of DMs, especially Discord, but Twitter DMs, and lots of people wanting to reach out and collab and work with you all the time.
Well, yeah. There's many different ways that you can do it, right? But you have to identify your weaknesses. You also have to identify where you want to grow, where you want to scale. You have to predict the future. You have to at least look forward in the future. Think longer term, right? Yeah. If you can think in those ways, you're gonna figure out the right people to bring onto your team or to bring into your network. A lot of what I do is just trying to think what's gonna be like the next big thing, and who are gonna be those people who are gonna be the gateway for that. And I try to be their friends, right? And I just genuinely be their friend. Like I'm not asking for anything. I just know like down the line we can maybe work on something together. That's all great. But yeah, I mean, you just can't like start asking shit from people right away. Be like, "Oh, please do this, please do that." Like, people make that mistake all the time. And then plus a huge networking mistake is when people try to reach out to someone and they try to like, at least say one or two sentences like, "Oh yeah, hi bro," and then on the second or third sentence that they send, now they're asking for something. Like you can't do that. It's either you ask for something up front or you don't at all, right? You like wait 5 months down the line. Like you got to pick and choose, right? People who get a lot of messages, they don't want to see, "Hey bro." You think anyone's gonna respond to that? I think that's just for advice for people, because I know a lot of people who want to network. They try to be genuine. They try to be nice. They don't want to seem needy and ask for something up front. But the thing is that you have to tell people what you need up front, and then if they can figure out if they can help you with that, or if they can figure out if they're capable, or if they want to partner with you on something, they will do it. But besides that, you got to keep things short. You got to keep it sweet, keep it simple, and just be upfront, or else you're just going to be wasting out everyone's time. It's a huge waste of time. So
I think I got 2 hey bros today.
Yeah, every day, man. You should see how it's always the "Hey bro," or how are you doing? Which again, there's no disrespect or shade to those people. It's just the learning of understanding people who are getting a lot of messages. And I've even became a better networker myself because I see how other people message me, and I'm like, I do not want that. So when I message some celebrity or when I message some company, I know I have to be short, sweet, simple, and to the actual point.
I chatted to Zeneca about that actually because we spoke quite a bit before he came on the podcast, and it was exactly the same thing. He just was super transparent, said, "I appreciate the fact you kind of got straight to the point." You said the same with you back in the day. I just said, "Look, want to get you on the podcast. This is what we do. Appreciate you reading the message." And I think it's the biggest error, and it ties into what you said a little bit earlier as well, about how the reality is a lot of stuff isn't fair. I think that's one of the biggest differentiators between people, and I don't just mean in the NFT space, just in general, people who will make shit work and people who will just dream till they're 50 and still have nothing. The biggest differentiator is accepting reality. And the bottom line is shit is not fair a lot of the time, like you said. What is really interesting to me though is how really you've been super consistent with everything you've done, apart from I don't think you've uploaded on YouTube for a couple of months, and I wondered if there was a reason why you had stopped uploading. Was it to primarily just focus on Dark Echelon and Dark Labs and everything like that, or was it just that you feel that your time just isn't really worth being spent on content at the moment?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good question. So I did this roundtable with a lot of different people who were making content, a lot of different YouTubers. They were focusing on their YouTube a lot, right? And I remember I think a few YouTubers might be, I don't know if they're gonna watch this video, but I did this roundtable and I told them all. I said, stop making YouTube videos, put 1,000,000% of your energy on Twitter, and I promise you, you'll make more money. You'll build a longer term audience, and also you'll be a lot happier of a person. It's gonna be way less stressful, all this shit, make content, right? What happened? Not a lot of people listened, right? Now look where everything is. Personally, I made YouTube videos because I was trying to help people. I also thought that it was super cool, and on top of that too, I knew it would help me build my brand. And I was like one of the first dudes. I was just trying to make cool content. Like you can go back all the way. I think I deleted a video from maybe like August or September. I was making videos for a long time consistently, and I was enjoying it too. But to the point of where now I started to realize that's not where building a brand is, right? YouTube, people maybe not really, or they don't really understand. That's fine, but I'll probably come to YouTube again one day. But I just know that the Twitter is the main place. You look at people like Zeneca, for example, or NFT Llama, or maybe like Farouk. These are huge people. They don't need YouTube, right? And I started to realize that I'm like, why are these people so big? Like, and then I started to realize I was like, these guys don't need like an external source. They're building everything internally on Twitter, and they're building these huge communities, these huge bases, right? And all these people that love them and they trust them, and they don't even show their face. So I started to realize that, and it was that obviously I wanted to grow my brand as big as possible, and also I wanted to put the best interest in Dark Echelon, right? So I started to realize that, and it's not that I got lazy or not that I stopped wanting to upload videos or anything. It's just that I knew that it was going to be better for the branding to just stop uploading YouTube videos and focus fully on Twitter. And then also with that being said too, it's like, geez, some of these projects that I would talk about, like these upcoming projects, they all go to zero. So it's like, it's such a bad look. Like someone, like in the future, they'll like look at all my videos that I made. Bro, all these projects went to fucking zero. And a lot of them are just pump and dumps. And like, what am I supposed to make content about? Like there's genuinely not really any projects to make content about. And the whole point of being a creator is to make engaging content, right? You cannot make engaging content talking about the same project every video. So it started to become very old.
How have you mitigated that? Because originally, and I know you've shifted away from the alpha group dynamic, originally the point of an alpha group objectively was the same as any alpha group in any circle. Find projects, partner with them on the short term, get whitelist, everyone makes money, we all smile. I know you've changed from that model now, but what is the actual value outside of the tools and all those bits and bobs? Are you still partnering with brands to try to get whitelist? Because obviously they're few and far between at the minute. There isn't really anything great happening. How have you maintained value for members? Let's say I want to buy in tomorrow. How do I get value from buying into Dark Echelon just like that?
Yeah, so I like to like categorize Dark Echelon into like a couple different topics, right? So the first thing, we categorize it into like a very high capital investors club, right? There's really cool people in there. There's also sometimes very normal people in there, but we do have some or at least a small base of people who are consisted within the likes of VC fund advisors, multi-billion-dollar corporations like eToro, right? Even people who are renowned celebrities, even some of the biggest Web3 influencers in the entire space, right? I can name some if you want, but obviously that's going to take a while. But that's what we're mainly comprised of, right? And then on top of that, you go into the other stuff: Whitelist Launchpad, Web3 Job Platform, Networking Hub, Web3 Resource Hub. We have access to all these other things, right? Also, being in groups where people are at a high level, right? You get access and you find out about things very early, without having to do any of this alpha trash, right? I don't want to call alpha trash, but it's just that it's very fast-paced moving. It's very unpredictable. It doesn't benefit everyone. It's just a pump and dump every single time, right? So yeah, I mean, for example, I don't know if you guys know the Gent Crochet Club project. I know Iman Gauji a little bit personally, kind of. We spoke on a phone call a couple of times. You know, he's cool. He's put me in a few of his YouTube videos. For example, his project was coming out. By the way, I have zero financial incentivization behind this. I was never paid a dime for his project. I know other people were paid NFT advisors, but I was not. I thought it was a cool project. I knew that he was a genuine person. I knew everything he's ever built was of very high quality. So I found out that he was launching a project. I spoke to him on the phone, da da da, this and that. I figured out what he was doing. I told my people in Dark Echelon, I said, yo, the only way to get a whitelist for this, or the only way to get access to this, right? By the way, no one knows about this. They had like 1,000 followers on Twitter. They don't know anything about Web3 marketing, right? All they do is just his personal brand, push it to his personal brand, and that's it. For example, this is pretty crazy actually. The only way to get a whitelist is through phone call, through vetting, and you have to be like some really prominent person to even get a whitelist because it was very exclusive. This project was a 4,500 USDC mint. It went up all the way to like almost an 18 or 20 ETH floor, like almost right off the bat. And a lot of Dark Echelon holders got a whitelist for that. So just for example, could have made like, I don't know, like 30, 40, $50,000 instantly, just because you're in Dark Echelon and you know about this type of stuff, right? So those are the type of things that we promote, right? These high level different, or this high level caliber stuff. We're also promoting, we were pushing Goda Pass. We were also pushing a couple of other things, right? We don't like to do like fast pace FOMO alpha. Like it's just, hey, here's a lead, boom, because we just know. We have people in there that just know. So yeah, that's what I would like to categorize that in. But yeah, I mean, we could definitely tap onto other topics about that too.
Do you think it's helped you personally as well, perhaps even just with your conscience, when, as you said, realistically, you look back at your old YouTube videos and through no fault of your own, the simple reality is, I would say even more than 95% of projects have either gone to shit, rugged, or disappeared. And that's no fault of any YouTuber who made a video. It was completely free content, non-incentivized, blah, blah, blah. But having the setup you have now where it's really reliant, actually, if anything, on the people in the community that you have to help each other out and actually really create wealth for everyone, as opposed to here's a whitelist and then it's kind of like it's on you when you sell it. Do you find it a lot easier to build and feel more relaxed knowing that you have a much more, I guess, ethical setup now?
Yeah, it's a lot easier. It's a lot less stressful with like not having to be in the Discord and all that. You can ask any of my members. I'm not really in the Discord, and they're all cool with that. They already know what I'm doing. They know that I'm trying to put the best interest in mind for Dark Echelon, right? Before that, I thought I have to be in the Discord all the time, like interact and all that. But that's fake, right? Like I'm just doing something I don't want to do, right? Because I'm trying to do a million different things I like once, right? And I was trying to juggle everything, and then I started to realize I do not have to do that. So I just simply communicated that with my community, and they're like, "Yeah, bro, of course, do whatever you need to make this better." I'm like, "All right, cool." So we obviously have a really big team now that everything is taken care of. I don't have to look at what our collaborations are or our whitelist. I don't even know what our whitelist collaborations are. I really don't. I don't look into that. I have no interest in that. All I focus on is furthering the brand of Dark Echelon, right? For example, we partner with like X2Y2, or we partner with a very large multi-billion-dollar corporation, a crypto company, right? I can't mention some of these things are on NDA, but yeah, I mean, it's so much easier to just be honest, right? Like for example, the funds of these are the Dark Echelon funds. When we had our mint, we made 42 ETH from the mint. Some rugs they get like 2,000 ETH and they just rug, right? I just told everyone in Dark Echelon, I'm like, look, there's no community vault. I'm just gonna put this in my bank account, right? And whatever the funds need to be used for, I will use them for. And we're already almost a year in this project, and we're thriving, right? There's no shortage of funds here, and we're not gonna ever have a shortage of funds. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's different aspects to this. You just gotta be honest.
Early transparency is massive. It's something which I found weird about Web3. I think when I first jumped into it, being a collectibles dealer, at the end of the day, with the market I'm used to, it's quite small for each niche. Everyone knows where everything is. Everyone knows each other, and it kind of works like that. But with Web3, even back, I remember when we chatted about it in the first episode, you were super honest about the funds right the way back then. You said, look, I made the money, but I will make sure my community thrives. And again, it's testament, I think, to you that 9-10 months down the line, is still really working nicely. Is there anything you regret that you've done with Dark Echelon, or just in general within your kind of year in Web3? Is there anything that you think you've done that you would prefer to have done a different way?
Let me think. Probably time management, obviously. Obviously, like identifying patterns earlier, not just being like stagnant with them. That's obviously like inherently like humans are lazy and all that, but yeah, I mean, just trying to identify everything quicker in terms of time management. Wasting time is a big thing. But besides that, all the other mistakes and I guess you could say experimentation that I've done, I'm super glad because I've learned so much. And we've like experimented with a bunch of different things, and we see like a lot of other people follow what we do, and it's honestly a compliment. It's honestly super cool, and it's honestly like it's just it's amazing to actually see like other people like what we're doing, so they wanted to do the same thing. Like we've invented a couple of Discord tools also. Like we were one of the first people to ever do Discord bots with tools. Like we innovated this stuff. We created the FOMO bot. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but
Yeah.
Jimmy does.
So I was a Dark Echelon holder. I bought in after our episode. So one thing I have with the podcast is that I often will buy the people's project after they come on. They come on, I get gassed about it. I get really into it, and I'm like, right, I'm going to buy it. So I bought in at 0.15, and then you ran up to like 2 ETH. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is great. I was using the tools every single day. And I was like, I love these tools. These are brilliant. I think I said to Kelsey, to you so many times, oh, no, check out this. I was even like saying to him, I was like, oh, I'm checking out this one because of something I'd seen on a tool and using them a lot. And then when you got to about 2 ETH, I was like, oh, do you know what? I bought in at 0.15. I'm going to take some profit. I'm going to wait for a dip. I'm going to climb back in. So I sold mine. And then the next thing I know, you're at 6.69 ETH. I was messaging Kelsey like every day, like, what the fuck, man?
Well, it was also that you were actually using
Where
all
was
the
the
tools.
dip?
That's
Where
why
was
I don't know
the
why you
dip?
sold, because you were literally making money.
Yeah, I
off
know.
of just
And I was
tools.
making,
why-
yeah, that was it. I was
enough of that.
making load of money off the
Smashing
calls
it.
and stuff in there. I was like, no, this is awesome. And then I was like, I tried to overplay it. I was like, I'll just drop out. And then I'll come back in because I thought you were going to have a little dip. And then you just kept going and going and going. And I was just like, oh, okay.
no, oh my god, no. I actually promote people taking profits on.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Honestly, like I really don't like if you're up on your investment, like what the heck, you made money, take your money and run. Like that's how this space is. Like people just it's gonna run up more because people love gambling. But
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if you're up, take it. But the thing is that so many whales that I know, they just never sell. It's like what the hell? Like, bro, you're up.
So yeah, I was going through a trying to take profit stage, but I think I needed liquidity for something else, and I was like, oh, it's definitely because you had a couple of days where you dipped down before, and I was like, oh, I'll wait for the next dip and I'll climb back in, and then it was I literally didn't dip again. I was like, oh, for God's sake! But I really missed the tools and the chats, to be honest, and the whitelist, because it did get me into a load of different projects that I made some money on.
Awesome, man. Well,
so, yeah.
That's the whole purpose, man. If it helped you, right, that's all that matters. it did its
did.
job. But yeah, man, I actually like as a joke once, I told one of my friends from just like my childhood. I already knew he had like quite a bit of money, so I was like, yo, I called him one day when Dark Echelon was like at 0.1 ETH. I was like, bro, Drake and Ninja, they're both in Dark Echelon. You should buy it like now, like sweep the floor. I was joking with him, but like. I was joking, but he didn't know I was joking. I was being serious. So, but like obviously, like in my head, I was just like fucking around with him. But I was like, yo, sweep the floor, bro. Like Drake is in there. Like Drake just chills in there every day. And Ninja,
Let's hear some
Ninja
names.
the gamer.
Let's hear some names.
What happened?
Now. Who are? I've got to ask you. Let's hear. So, who are the biggest holders that you've got that you know of? I've got to ask you.
Yeah. So we have the biggest whale in Dark Echelon. He's not docs, but he's like he's from like private equity, right? He was from Wall Street. He has like I don't know 10 or 12 dark echelons. So he actually bought it like when Dark Echelon was at 5 ETH, when ETH was at $3,000. So I don't know how much. That's quite a bit of money, obviously. So he put a bag. I think it was like 60 or 70, 75, maybe even $100,000 in Dark Echelon, and he still hasn't sold. He just sits there all day and gets free shit. But besides that, from what I know, the biggest company that owns a Dark Echelon is eToro. That's a multi-billion-dollar company. And then the biggest Web3 influencer that I know of, again, dude, there's like so many Bored Ape whales that like text me. They're like, yo, Ameer, like, thank you so much. I was in DE, da-da-da. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know you were in there. But the biggest one that I know is Bento Boy. Maybe...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's like some other ones. Some really like OG influencers, like maybe like NFT Nate, like NFT Pasta. But obviously they're like busy with what they're doing, so like they're not in there all day long. But besides that, we just have a lot of people that were like really into like angel investments, like private equity. We have some Bored Ape holders, and I would say the mass majority of people are your above average people, right? You know, we do have some people who are like in college still. We do have some people that are you know, have your average job, but besides that, if you accumulate the average of people, it's you're well above average person. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't even know the actual names, man, because some of these people are undocked, but they have some very large wallets, and it's some of those Bored Ape people, some of those Moonbirds people. We do have some like what I think it's 8, 9-figure businessmen in there that I've spoken to that are not docs. Really, 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 really cool shit.
That's awesome.
Talk to me about Dark Labs, because obviously that's something you've been working on quite, I'd say quite quietly in a way. I mean, don't anything you do on Twitter is quite visible because you've got a big following that wants to get in on the next thing. But talk to me a little bit about the direction you're going in with Dark Labs.
Yeah, man, that's that was the vibe I was trying to give off. So you received it correctly. It's meant to be speculative. It's meant to keep it, or it's meant to remain mysterious. We're currently trying to find ways to innovate, to give people a more enhanced experience on basically having real interaction with the project and just genuinely liking the actual project. One thing I would say there, I'm not going to go into depth with like what it is. A lot of different like legal issues there. We don't have our entire base set down with like the legals and all that. So I'm not going to go into too much. We do have private investors onboarding currently and all that. I don't want to go over everything, but in terms of that, the experience itself is what I'm really trying to focus on. Obviously, experience equals branding, like how Goblins did their stuff. Very, very in-depth, in-tune experience and branding. Obviously, I'm not going to be like Goblins, but yeah, we're just trying to focus mainly on that. It's not going to be a PFP project, not going to be some random cash grab. You know, I mean, I am trying to make money on that too because I am dropping a project. I am a human dropping a project with money in mind. So yeah, it's to make more money, obviously to raise more money for my brand. Personally, myself, I know a lot of people say this, but I'm personally chilling, so it's not like I need anything at this point. But again, I literally hear that all the time, and the people who tell me that are all brokies. But trust me on that one. But yeah, basically, we're just trying to build some really fucking innovative shit. We already have exactly what we're doing. It's mainly though before we release, it's gonna be quite a while. It's not gonna be tomorrow. It's not gonna be a month from now that we're gonna drop. We're focusing on the experience over everything. Just because I really want to leave like a really strong taste in people's mouth for a very long time. I want people talking about it for a long time after it drops. Because the main thing too is like, yeah, you have your branding, all this and that, but after your project drops, like, where did everything go? Like everything is slowing down now. The momentum is slowing down, and people just stop talking about your project. But we don't want that. Like people were talking about Goblins way after they actually drop. So there's reasons behind that. But yeah, we're just trying to take a more longer term approach on that for sure. I have no rush for that whatsoever, and I do not care about followers. I don't care about engagement there. As you see, I'm not really doing any whitelist giveaways. I don't care about that. I just want to build, you know, what I've actually envisioned in my head for like the past month or two.
So how like, again, don't get me wrong, I think that makes a lot of sense, but why have you started branding it now? Is it to really slowly build the intrigue and then build up to the announcement, or is it just that at the time you thought, you know what, I really feel like we can get something going here? Why did you start it now if you have no real plan of announcing much until the future?
Yeah, well, the how do you say this? Private investor process takes a long time, man. Especially when you're talking to like, you know, companies, you know, VCs, high capital people that are not always checking their phone for texts. A lot of that stuff takes a long time. And personally, who we are handpicking to onboard, that shit takes a long time. And on top of that too, some of the development that we're trying to do in the back end, it's a little bit costly, and also it just takes a little bit of time. Everything's being worked on, but yeah, I mean, just some of this shit, man, it just takes a long time. And there's personally no issue with that because we've already like kept that in mind, and we've already planned everything out to make sure that we can have like a long-term scope, just in case it were to take extra long. We even have that planned out too. But yeah, man, it's just what we're also trying to focus on is not dilute Dark Echelon. I will never dilute Dark Echelon. I will never ever be that guy to drop a Gen 2. I do not give a shit about a Gen 2. You can make a lot of money with it with the Gen 2. I think personally I could probably drop a Gen 2. You know, maybe milk a few million. It would be nice, right? But we don't need it. Everyone's being paid really well on our team through whitelist pay, right? That's where most of our employees are being paid. We do have some employees that are being paid in obviously ETH, but besides that, yeah, no Gen 2, no, it's gonna be another portion of Dark Echelon where you get that and that. No, it's more so to actually benefit Dark Echelon holders than anything else. And currently too, with that being said, yeah, it's not gonna be a Gen 2. I think people are getting that mixed up, and people are also saying it's gonna be some agency or all this and that. It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be an actual project.
It is interesting because the question asks, and again, I think this is probably what you're hinting at. You're going to do something we haven't seen before, or at least attempt to. It's obviously not going to be another Alpha Group style project. It's not going to be a high investors club. It's nothing similar to what you've done with Dark Echelon. You've just said it's not going to be a profile picture project. So the question does beg, I wonder what direction you're going to go in. I'll be excited to kind of track it and see, and hopefully chat with you again a few months down the line when you drop it. Is there anything that you've got your eye on at the moment in the market? Because again, it is pretty slow. How's your investment strategy changed? I remember when we first chatted, you were still fairly regularly flipping NFTs and things like that. Is that something you've still continued doing, or have you slowed right down?
Yeah, I mean, so I have my team manage that for me. I'll like regularly like get like free airdrops here and there, free few ETH here and there, whatever. Someone gives me this and that, free whitelist. I'll mint it here and there. But I just have literally zero interest on even like flipping or minting anything currently. It's just because like we're just already doing pretty well. We don't really need to like mint or anything like that. It's also on top of that too, we're literally just extremely tunnel vision focused. But yeah, a lot of these long nights, I almost just forget about flipping NFTs. So currently I'm more looking towards longer term investments. I'm not really flipping anymore. As I said, some people will give me like a free airdrop. Some people will give me like a free whitelist. Most of the time, I will probably just like flip it. I'm not going to really hold anything longer term unless the founder requests, he says, Ameer, please don't flip. I will not flip if you ask me to not flip, right? If someone who gives me a whitelist says, Ameer, never sell it ever in your life, I will never sell it. I will listen to founders. But if no one tells me anything, I'll just do whatever I want with it, right? But yeah, besides that, yeah, man, I'm just looking to more longer term strategies. Obviously, exclusive groups are really powerful if they have strong leaders. But on top of that too, ENS, I kind of have a fat bag of ENS. I got into it very early, nice. Like in August, right? I remember I scooped up like a 3-digit back in August, I think. So
nice.
You know, yeah. So I don't really think about selling anything currently. I have like I don't know, like 5 or 6 different vaults that have a shitload of NFTs in there. I just don't really plan on selling anything. I just, wherever it goes is wherever it goes. I actually call some whales crazy because they'll be so up on their investment and they just don't even sell it. And I'm like, bro, that guy's so stupid. And then now I'm at that point and I'm like, bro, I'm doing the same shit as them. What the fuck? So, like, yeah, I mean, I guess
it's so hard though, isn't it? That's got to be the hardest part of NFTs is knowing when to take profit. And even when you take a huge amount of profit, like I did with Dark Echelon, I bought in a 0.15. I sold at like nearly 2 ETH at the time. That was like a lot. It was a lot of money. It was like $5,000, $6,000. I still got massive regret for it because like it went up higher, and I also don't have access to the tools and the things like that. So I think Zeneca calls it, it's the market of infinite regret. There's no way of making the right decision at any point.
Yeah, my best strategy is don't even look at the floor after you sell it. just don't ever look ever again. Yeah,
well, I've been trying not to look, but now we got you on. We had to have a look.
Yeah, actually, I've been getting my girlfriend involved. I just give her like whatever I was doing back then, like all the opportunities I was getting for like all these free like all this free shit that people just kept giving me. Yeah. I'm just giving it to my girlfriend now. She's just making a bunch of money. Nice. So I just taught her how to do it, all that. She got pretty interested, so she's just having a bunch of fun, man. Like she's I have to like explain to her so she can understand like yo, like not a lot of people get this. Like, you have to understand that NFTs is not supposed to be this easy. Like, look, you're just getting all the free shit that I get, right? No one get the. I have to explain to her because she just thinks like this is how NFT work, right? Like you just like you get a bunch of free shit, everyone's giving you free money,
and then sell
like
it for 20 grand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I was like, that's not how it works. But I think she's starting to understand. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
No, so on that, so I know that some of the offers, I mean, even we get crazy offers sometimes, and usually they're from things that are obvious rug pulls or things that aren't on brand that we turn down. What is the craziest offer that you've had that you've turned down?
You don't need to name them.
I have to name them?
No, you don't.
No, you don't have to. If you don't, if you can't, you don't have to name them.
Oh, I mean,
it's better if you do.
Nothing that crazy, honestly. Like maybe the most was like, I don't know. I think because it works in percentages, and I haven't really checked a lot of these projects that I've like if they sold out or not. But I think the highest one might have been around like that 750 to 500K range.
Oh wow.
It's on like look, I'm gonna be honest. That's nowhere near like what I would sell my soul or sell my brand for. Like hell
Yeah,
no. Like you gotta pay upwards near like 20 mil to like make me fold like that. I mean, like, look, you give anyone 6 figures, I know everyone will fold instantly, right?
yeah.
They don't give a shit about their brand. Like I already know where I'm gonna go in the future and stuff. So it's like, yeah, you gotta pay like 20 mil to make me fold. Like I'll get people telling me like, yo, Ameer, you like you got paid to talk about this, or Ameer, you get paid to post this on your Twitter. I swear to God, I've never been paid for shit. Like I'll be so honest there. Yes, I've been given whitelists for my community, right? For Dark Echelon, right? But like no one ever went like, yo, Ameer, I'll give you like 5 whitelists to do this and that. Like hey, look, I'm chilling. $1,000 for a post or to put on my YouTube. You're not gonna catch me lacking anywhere. There's not gonna ever be in the history of anything ever be a trace of me. Oh, Ameer, your YouTube video. No one will ever in the history of this planet ever catch me or ever find a trace of that ever, because I've never done it.
And I bet not. There's not a lot of people that can say that in the space.
Yeah, I actually do know like majority, or geez, I can't even say this because like I'm sure like a lot of them might have changed their strategy, but from what I know, like a lot of the YouTube guys never took a paid promo. I really do think that's true. I think a few of them did. They made like crazy bags, like ultra crazy bags. Like I know a few things, but yeah, no, I think yeah, I don't really think a lot of these guys take paid promos.
I don't think, from my point of view personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with, in a more normal setting, like a Web2 setting, there's nothing wrong with working with the brands. I mean, as a YouTuber, if you look at the most successful people who have made podcasts, Joe Rogan, all these kind of guys, they rely, again, maybe bad example now, but early days, they have to use sponsors and things like that. I think the big problem with Web3 is that, as we said, 95% of them are shit rugs. So you end up, no matter whether you've got good intentions or not, you have taken profit from other people losing money. And I think that's probably why it is really good to be able to say, as you do, that you've never taken anything from anyone.
Yeah. In terms of like Web2 stuff, obviously it's like more service-based products, right? Like you're buying a product, or like you're buying a physical item, or you're buying some like service. Like that's what they promote on like normal YouTube or normal Twitter. But you come in like to Web3 and all that, whatever you want to call it, whatever. It's so cliche, Web2, Web3. It's so annoying, but yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean, you're basically promoting investing advice because it's basically investing, and on top of that too, you how do you call this? You're like there's no disclosure of ads anywhere, right? Which is you run into legal issues there. So there's a lot of different dynamic, but I would just say like it's like basically telling people, yeah, buy this Tesla stock, da da da, without disclosing like, hey, you've been paid or this and that. But yeah, I mean, like I think people get a little bit too sensitive also in the NFT space. But I mean, we can even tap on that too. I would love to talk about that. But yeah, I think it's very sensitive.
I think as well, one of the biggest things that fuels that is that I can't remember the exact stat I saw, but there is a small number of wallets that control so much. And I think people, for some reason, have just got hazy eyes to the fact that that's life. If you look at the majority of any market, there'll be a percentage of people who control it and everyone else just plays alongside them. And for some reason with Web3, I feel like the wag me attitude is definitely like, I don't hear wag me anymore, right?
No one says it.
6-8 months ago, everywhere it was wag me. But the motif is the same, which is that the ballers are getting more rich, and there's a lot of guys who are essentially their exit liquidity constantly. That won't change. It's not going to change in 20 years. It's not going to change with any market you're in. Housing in the UK at the minute is batty. It's so expensive. But the bottom line is there are guys who are absolutely controlling and manipulating whole areas. That will never change. I am waffling a little bit here because it's just super interesting, like you said, to kind of jump in to talking to someone who is just honest about stuff and goes, yeah, that's life. We are going to have to, I think, Jimmy is giving me the eyes of wrap up because of his edit time, which I do appreciate. We're going to have to get another episode recorded when you do drop Dark Labs. But before we go, what I wanted to ask you to close, we ask every single guest who does have a project out, could you sum up the Dark Echelon ecosystem in a minute or less for me?
Yeah, we focus, Dark Echelon focuses on providing actual value to holders. The inspiration is around the Black American Express, right? So what we want to do is bring benefits and bring exclusivity and like a luxury feel to our holders, just like the Black American Express has done. That was our vision. That's where we want to go. And then in terms of like, I guess you could say future looking or like a Dark Echelon long-term outlook, Basically, we just want to reach the pinnacle of exclusive access for our holders, right? We also want to be a worldwide known brand, right? Revolving more around status, right? We want to be something of status, right? You like hold a Dark Echelon, you must be someone of status. And then also we want to expand into like other ventures, gaming, ticketing, hotel and airport lounge access, education, which is big. And then also we want to remain on the front lines of like innovation and like just, constantly adapting to markets, right? Just to ensure that we're always staying relevant, which is something that we've done pretty well. So that is what I would like to summarize our ecosystem.
Nice. That was one of the best ones we've had, I think.
I know the Dark Echelon is always going to be the big one I regret, and as soon as I can see the right time to do it, I'm going to snipe my re-entry back in there.
Awesome, man. Yeah, man, it's going to be like that like really hot girl that like you didn't say hi to.
It is, yeah.
And she like ran away from you. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. But I do understand you guys have to wrap it up. But yeah, I mean, it was a really awesome talking to you guys. Thank you very much for having me on. Hope the best for you guys. Let's hope that we get this podcast past 10,000 subs. Let's please, everyone listening, let's please do that. And then we got to tap onto the sponsorship. So we're gonna start seeing some rug pulls sponsor this podcast, and hopefully it goes well. I'm kidding.
Let's try our best to not do that bit. But it's been an absolute pleasure, Ameer. Genuinely.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
We'll not that I'd assume most people know who you are or follow you already, but obviously put social links below. And it's just, it's been an absolute pleasure. We obviously look forward to chatting again soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your day. And that's all, guys.
If you made it this far, thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.